Hey guys, welcome back to Friends and Enemas. This is season 2, if you can believe it. I kind of had a little time off.
There was a bit of a hiatus.
Little hiatus.
Things got busy.
To be fair, if you don't know, we're both still working full-time nurses over here. So we got a travel contract. We had to up and move. Holidays, starting a new contract is a literal bitch. So it just has been a moment since I had a chance to sit down, and I wanted this season to be a little different. Season 1 was definitely a tester, kind of dipping my toe. I'm trying to see how this works. Podcasting is definitely out of my norm. It's becoming the norm, but it's out of my norm. So season 1 was just a little toe dip, and I thought it'd be fun to start season 2 off with like a little 1-star review action. That's the theme. And I got the idea because
you got a 1-star review?
Well, it was a 2-star review. But
might as well.
But might as well be 1 star.
Yeah,
but
it hurts just as much.
It hurts a little bit, but honestly, no. I want to be the person that like takes some action, some critiquing. I want to be able to take it and do better. I want to read. I mean, for the most part, unless you're just being an asshole. Like, if you have some good feedback, I want to try to make this podcast better. So that's the whole point. So I decided to read through my reviews, and if you don't know, sometimes I don't do that because sometimes some people are really mean.
The way your mental health is set up.
The way my mental health is set up is probably not the best idea, but I was like, I want to make this a really good podcast for you guys. And like I said, it's new to me too, but I read the 2-star review, and it said, pretty much summed up that it's a little unorganized. So we're a little here, we're a little there.
It's valid.
It's valid. That's kind of my personality though.
Yeah. And the first season, it was a lot of like
testers.
Yeah. We were just, to quote my dad, we were just throwing some mud on the wall.
Seeing what sticks. Exactly. So, that's what we did. Do we have the washer going?
Yeah.
Oh God. Guys, if you don't live in an RV, if you have the washer going, it starts shaking. The whole RV shakes.
Yeah.
I thought it was your foot for a moment. No, but back to the point.
Do you remember the very 4 years ago, whenever we were just in the RV for a couple weeks, and we ran the first thing on the washer, and it was our first time in California, and the RV started shaking? We freaked out. We thought it was our first earthquake. Yeah.
We literally were like, there's an earthquake.
Yeah.
Guys, there was no flipping earthquake. It was our washer. We died laughing. We're like, this is what they warned us about. Okay. Anyway, back to the point. I just wanted to do a little bit better. So I took that 2-star review. I'm going to keep saying it's a 2-star because it wasn't a 1. They gave me 2. I'm going to take that 2-star review and put some actionable things with it and give you guys a little bit of a theme this season. You can tell me how I do. You can always leave reviews and send me messages about what we could do better. The very first thing was audio. The audio was bad. Guess what? We upgraded that bitch. So that should be good. But now we need a little more organization. And I feel that. Maybe he's a nice nurse, Yeah,
because to me, a 2-star review cuts a little deeper. It hurts more because a 1-star review, you can, they're usually like irrationally mad, but a 2-star review, it's like, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. And that hurts more.
It hurts more, but that's why we're taking some action with it, and we're going to make it a little better. So the theme of this episode is 1-star reviews. And I thought it'd be funny just to, chime in with my own 1-star review. But I didn't introduce us. I'm Lindsay. Who are you? Who the fuck
Jared.
are you?
I'm Jared. I am the fabulous Scrub Hack's husband.
When you say fabulous, they're gonna think
you're fabulous.
Oh, okay. I was like, are you fabulous? Because
we're both fabulous, but
okay,
I meant it for you.
We're both fabulous, but thank you. Actually, that's very kind. You guys wanted more Jared, so here he freaking is. And so I'm gonna jump into this. So we're doing 1-star reviews. I found this thread on Reddit. And I thought it was obviously very coincidental. It fit very well. The title is 1-star reviews. This is on r/nursing. And it says, I saw a thread on this a long time ago, and it was my absolute favorite. Google where you work and post your favorite 1-star review. Mine, quote, went to the emergency room for severe burning when I pee. They asked for a urine sample and told me how to do it to not contaminate. I asked if they could do it for me because I didn't because I didn't think I'd be able to get myself clean enough, and I've never given a pee sample before because I'm only 19. Nurse said she wouldn't hold my pee cup for me and I would be just fine. Then after waiting for hours, they tell me I have a urine infection, give me antibiotics, send me a prescription to a pharmacy for me to pick up, and tell me they're sending me home before I even feel better. I asked to be kept so I could get pain meds in my IV until infection started to feel better, but was told no. Could have just FaceTimed my doctor if all they was going to do was give me antibiotics and make me pee on my own hand. Don't go here unless you're dying.
I wish we could clip that entire thing and just put it on a billboard in front of every ER across the country. You just described what an ER is and
What an
how it
emergency
works.
room is.
Yeah.
And something I learned, by the way, of my last season is that we have a lot of non-medical professionals that are listening. Stop picking your fingers. God, he's a nail picker.
I get nervous.
We have a lot of non-medical professionals. So something else we're going to add in is our 2 cents of what something means, what medical terms mean if we use them, but why is this problematic? Mm-hmm. And it's because the general public often uses, we were floated to ER literally this week, and I got to see firsthand how many urgent care visits come to the ER. And besides the point of this could be an insurance issue, because that's something I have not looked into, we're going to put that on the back burner and pretend it's not an insurance issue. Because again, I don't know.
And to be fair, I don't think that healthcare and hospitals especially are very siloed.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of information gets out, not a lot gets in. And I don't think that hospitals and healthcare in general, American healthcare, has done a good job at educating people what is an urgent care visit,
right,
what is a primary care visit, what's an ER visit.
Right.
And so a lot of people just don't know. And there's people, if you're not medically trained,
you don't know.
Something small to us is something big to another person.
Exactly.
So, yeah, a lot of people go with intentions. They genuinely believe that they're in a lot of trouble.
Absolutely. And this doesn't tell me if this is a male or female, but I immediately thought it was a male, just because I think a lot of females are used to UTIs, but regardless, this is this person's first UTI, and your first UTI sucks. I mean, have you ever had a UTI? I literally just got over one like 2 weeks ago.
I think I had some urethritis.
Urethritis?
Back in the day. Yeah.
Did you have to go to the doctor and get antibiotics?
A little further down. I don't recall.
Wait, what? A little further down.
It's inflammation in your urethra.
I know what it means. It's just the way you said it. No, I literally just got over a UTI, and I think women are more prone to UTIs. I did pee after sex. That's all I have to say. That is a thing you should do. And I did, but it didn't work this time. And
B to V. V to B.
Whoa. B to V.
Yeah, V to B.
V to B. Wipe from your vag to your booty hole is what that means. No, but they fucking suck. But also, I've had plenty in my lifetime, so I knew exactly what it was. And what did I do? Literally use the teledoc. FaceTime my doctor, like he said.
Yeah, that's
because
the perfect thing to
that's
use.
the perfect thing. That's my favorite thing about like teledoc or whatever type of FaceTime thing you have with your doctor. Yeah. That is the perfect scenario, a UTI, because I don't need to go in. I've had them before. Now this person's at least had one, so you know. But it was just comical because don't go here unless you're dying. No, exactly.
Yeah.
The ERs here in America are so full. I don't know how it is in other places, but I'm guessing it's very similar to us. We're constantly full of real problems and then small problems. And everyone's, problems are relevant, but when you don't know, like.
Yeah. And it may be, hopefully I'm not stepping on a review that's coming up, but I'm sure it's going to come up. If you're not critically ill, it's very likely you're going to wait for a long time and not
hours,
like
days,
hours. It's several hours in some cases. It's just it kind of the nature of the beast. I mean, there's a lot of sick people there, and
it sucks. And that's what gets people angry. That's why they leave these reviews. They start getting honestly really angry at us. But this is the point of this, that for nurses and healthcare workers and non-healthcare workers to listen to this and be like, A, you're not alone if you're a nurse having to deal with these types of patients, and then B, patients, maybe this will help educate a little bit more, because you're right. I don't think that there's a lot of education for the general public that is not in medical. It's hard for us sometimes to wrap our minds around that they don't know, but sometimes they don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I
They
mean,
don't.
why would anybody expect them to know if you if you haven't been taught that type of thing? You think you're taught all growing up, like before you were ever medically trained. If you were sick,
You
you
go
go
to
to
the
the doctor.
hospital or doctor, yeah.
Yeah, and whenever you call your primary care for your sore throat, and they say we can see you in 4 weeks, your next step is go to the
And this is
ER. A lot
also,
of
sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, you're good. I mean,
Got
it's
excited.
and a lot of people don't think about urgent care, or maybe also it could be. I don't know what insurance covers and
That's what
doesn't.
I
I
was
don't
going to
know a
bring
lot
up.
about it either.
Maybe like we're privileged enough to have had insurance our whole life, and that's another thing that like we go to these places because our insurance covers it. But maybe people don't have insurance, and that's where they go because the hospital does help you.
Right.
It's supposed to help you anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to read a few more of these. It says, 1-star review because the nurse that removed my baby's needle wasn't professional because there was blood dripping from it. Very disappointing.
What? What? Why did?
What?
What's a baby's needle?
What's their IV?
Oh,
When
from
the
the.
nurse removed the IV is what they're saying. When the nurse removed the baby's IV, that's how I read it. There was blood dripping from it. Very disappointing. Bitch, where do you think that went?
Yeah.
Where do
So
you think the IV was?
whenever they removed the tube that was inside
A
your
vein.
that carries your blood came out.
But it makes me think that again, like people are not educated. Where do you
Yeah.
think this IV goes? That's what it's for. If you don't know what an IV is for, and we're chuckling, and please take that with a grain of salt if you're not a medical worker, but like we know like IV goes in a vein. And it is to help draw blood, it is to help give medications. It's going to have blood on it when you pull it out. Period.
And I think that we get desensitized to the sight of blood, but like your average person, you just don't see blood all that much, especially
Right.
your own or your babies, which is I don't have children, but I'm sure it feels about the same as your own blood.
I'm sure it does. So
But yeah, so I could see like if some blood comes out and everybody's definition of like quote unquote a lot of blood is different. So
because mine and this person's are going to be very different.
yeah, and so like I could see that you if you get a little bit not even careless, but you spill a little bit of blood, it looks
I wouldn't
looks
even say
bad.
careless. I guarantee if you pull it out and you don't realize like it's gonna gush a little bit, you got to put some pressure on it. I've had several times where I put pressure on it for so long, and then I come back and I was like, oh, I should have put pressure on it for maybe another minute or so because there's blood everywhere now. But like at the end of the day, again, leaving a review for that is so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Lady, that's what the IV's for.
Yeah, yeah, and that goes in just there's a lot of education that
It's
should
missed.
happen that doesn't happen, and
So the comments under that one says, what's the alternative? Someone says, don't use needles on babies. Can't we deliver medication via, I don't know, Bluetooth?
yeah.
I'm just like, these are so stupid.
That's like they had those. My mom still has the scar from it. There was like a
Oh,
air gun.
like a shot. I thought it was
Yeah.
like
It used like a lot of force to push the medication
Wasn't it
in
for
through your
measles?
skin. I don't remember. It was some.
my
sort
mom
of
has it too. It's on her shoulder.
Yeah,
A
yeah,
little
yeah.
dent.
Yeah, I think they stopped it a long time ago, but yeah, I don't know. They use it a lot in the military because
Yeah.
I remember you would go down the line and they like I remember them talking about
Yeah.
you would get shot with a little I think it's air or
Well, it's some type of vaccine.
yeah, it's got like I'm sure liquid vaccine in it, but I think
Oh,
the
oh.
force that pushes under your skin.
Yeah, because
it's
why
not
does
like
it take a little dent of skin?
yeah, because it's not like needle punctures. It was hers is like a little circle
puck.
scar.
Yeah. On her shoulder?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
our
yeah, around her
parents'
delt.
generation. Damn, I wish we knew what that was because I'm pretty sure it's for like measles or something like that.
I'm sure somebody
An
will
old
tell
one.
us. Yeah,
Some comment below.
yeah.
Let us know. The next one is my personal fave. This has to be the worst hospital in the U.S. We unfortunately found ourselves here after our friend had a medical emergency and arrived via ambulance. For a second, I thought we had boarded a flight and ended up in a war-torn country. This place is a literal dump. The hospital is surrounded by rubble. That aside, the care rendered to my friend was horrendous, all caps. Avoid this place at all costs. There was construction next door where they had to demolish an old building.
That's a bummer.
Guys, this is what I'm saying. Like, why are we leaving these fucking reviews? Do you think that this hospital staff has anything to do with this?
Yeah, it's not an Airbnb. What was
It's
the
not fucking Airbnb.
what was the main grievance? What happened?
Friend was in an emergency.
Care was horrendous. I heard.
Care was horrendous, but the place was a literal dump.
Oh,
There was construction happening.
yeah.
Quit picking your fingers. We're gonna get you a fidget spinner for this shit. It's wild.
Yeah, a lot of hospitals are old, much older, but like the logistics of upgrading a hospital, because hospitals don't just close. You don't just close the hospital
Yeah.
for 6 months to you go. How it generally goes is you go room by room, and they upgrade each room, because you can't shut down a whole unit because it's a hospital. And
Exactly.
so they go room by room and upgrade as they're able to. And so an upgrade can take like a decade. So
Exactly.
yeah, a lot of them are very old. It's a ton of money to upgrade them. So they're,
It's
yeah,
so
it's,
much money. Let me tell you, they're putting millions of dollars into those damn flower beds out front, okay? Like, it's gonna take a damn moment to redo an old hospital.
yeah.
And also, why is that your fucking concern? You have to
Yeah.
walk around some construction cones? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
Stop.
the construction comment at the end was a little bit odd.
That was the person letting us know. Like, the person who found that review works at that hospital and said they're saying this place is a dump. It's because it's under construction.
Oh, I see. Okay, that was
Yeah.
another comment.
That was it. Like, the person that found the review for Reddit was like,
Yeah.
we're under construction, by the way. By
Yeah.
the way, they're saying it's a dump. We're just under construction. That's all it is, friends.
Yeah.
It's not a dump. Or maybe it is and they're trying to fix it regardless. Like, it's stupid.
Yeah.
It's just stupid.
But there are some hospitals that, like, I've been to some that, and I think there's laws against this now or something like that, or maybe it's just like directives from JCO. But every hospital room is supposed to have a window that goes to the outside, and I've been in some
I'm in
hospitals that
some right
don't
now.
have them, and it is like a bit of a dungeon.
Well, and I understand that, but again, leaving a review, how about, I mean, I guess maybe that would help eventually, but in this case, are you writing like the administrators, I said that word, administration? Are you writing them?
Yeah.
Are you asking like who's the chain of command? Who runs this place? Because like, I don't know. I feel like these people are who we have to deal with
Yeah.
as nurses, and we have absolutely nothing to do with the construction of the building.
No,
You know what I mean?
I was never consulted on any
No.
construction.
If I was, I'd say cut the flower beds, disperse that money to to the people who work here. Please, nobody gives a fuck about these flowers.
Yeah, and I'll tell you
Pisses me off.
that I don't think any nurse is talked to at any point in construction, especially whenever they're placing the sharps container, because it's always in
Where is it?
the worst spot in the entire room.
And it's
Every
different.
facility. I've been to 20, 25 facilities, and it's always in the worst spot.
It's always far away from where you need it, but it's always in a different spot. You could be on the same, so like let's say every room in here is the same. The bed is right here, here. The sharps container is never at the same spot.
Or it's always directly over where the patient family sits.
Oh,
so
God.
I'm like reaching over them with a
No,
bloody
don't move,
needle.
don't move,
Yeah.
don't move. And they're like trying to
Yeah,
dodge you.
yeah, yeah.
And you're like, please stop fucking moving.
Yes.
Got a needle in my hand. Okay, this next one says, our daughter had her first child at 9:50 p.m. Visiting hours officially ended at 8 in the birthing unit. We couldn't even see the new baby for just a couple of minutes. Had to wait until the next morning when visiting hours resumed. Ridiculous. Grandchild number 6 and only hospital we have ever been where grandparents couldn't meet their new grandbaby if the baby was born outside visiting hours. How can the miracle of a birth and importance of families be demeaned in such a way? Wish our daughter would have had her baby at a different hospital.
It's their sixth.
It's her 6th. Calm the fuck down.
Yeah, they. I feel like they
It's
got.
gonna be okay.
They have to run together after a while. Like, babies all.
Come on.
Yeah, they're just tiny little.
I love all my nieces and
Little
nephews,
creatures.
but after a few, I'm like, it's another baby. Whoop whoop.
That's
If they're healthy and everything, I'm like, you know what? I'll see you when I see you.
Yeah, like I have lots of nieces and nephews, and they're all beautiful, and I love them all. But whenever they were very first born, I'm like, that's a baby.
That looks like a baby to me.
It's like looks like a baby to me. I'll be at home.
But this just goes to show, like, there's no education on why there are visiting hours. This is why I brought this one up. I wanted to touch on visiting hours because us being in the ICU, some ICUs that we work at have specific hours that are no visitors. The hospital that we were at recently, it's from 2 to 4. The middle of the day. Not a lot of people know. And so when they come to visit their loved one on a weekend in between 2 and 4, they literally cannot come into the ICU and they get so upset. And I understand. They should be educated from the beginning. But it does sound like the reasons we have this for patients is because healing happens with rest. Rest is one of the top ways for someone to heal, whether it be an ICU patient, a critically ill patient, or someone who has just had a baby. What if, hear me out, that mom wants to have quiet time with her baby and her husband or baby daddy or whatever it may be? visiting hours are for the patient. It's
Yeah.
not for you, family.
Yeah, and it's not like it's driven by the healthcare staff. It's not like a punitive thing. It's
We don't get to make those rules.
and one thing that we see that not a lot of people see is like you you love your family member, and we both work ICU, so and they're critically ill,
Right.
and it's very scary. So the tendency is to kind of be like helicopter parent, helicopter family, and you want to check on them all the time, and you want to love on them while you're
Right.
there and everything. But
It's with good
what
intention.
what they need more than anything is rest.
Rest,
And so
peace, and
they initiate those visiting hours so that patients can get adequate rest, because
right.
we're your average patient in the ICU, we're waking you up every few hours because you need
Every hour
labs, you need,
sometimes.
yeah, you've got a blood pressure cuff running, squeezing your arm every hour up to every 15 minutes. So there's a lot of, rest is very difficult in the ICU, and adding that on top of
It's
it makes it even
delicate.
harder.
Rest is something, and honestly, that's one of my favorite things to do is educate families about rest because they really don't know. Most families, like you said, they're there to care for their loved one, and sometimes caring is touching, talking, feeling, feeding, stimulating the patient. So something I like to do with, like if you're a new grad and you're listening and you need help on how to educate families, on leaving a patient alone, on overstimulation. So something I like to do if there's not rules about visiting hours, first and foremost, if there are rules about visiting hours, tell the family immediately so that they're aware. On weekends, that's typically when we have family come in and they're unaware.
And explain why. Like,
Explain why.
it blows my mind, and I see it all the time in the hospital.
Don't be
It's,
shitty
you,
for
you can't be here visiting hours, and people obviously are like, why? You can't. It's
Right.
hospital policy. That's not good enough.
Give them a
Tell
why.
tell them about rest and healing and things like that, so that there's something they can at least respect.
Yes. And so I like to say, hey, for the next hour, we're going to dim the lights. We're going to turn the TV off. You can play kind, soft music. Kind, has to be kind.
We love kind of
We love kind music. Soft music, like I think of like meditation music. If you want some noise here, it has to be meditation music. But if the family's in here, you need to be talking quietly in a whisper in the corner. If you want to hold their hand, that's fine, but do not interact anymore with them.
Yeah.
The patient needs rest. Rest promotes healing, first and foremost. So in this, and I always blame it on me because it's easy. I'm in here every hour, if not more. And that's just me. How many people are coming in this room bothering them? So now we're going to let them rest. Always just explain it in a way that it's not on the family. It's on you. Who cares? I'm the bad guy. I'll play bad cop. I don't give a fuck. But at the end of the day, it's for the patient. Visiting hours are for the patient.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, why I don't work neuro. Like, man, I worked neuro before. You get those ones that like you accidentally bump the bed and their heart rate drops to 40 and they spike a temperature for some reason.
It's hard.
Oh my gosh.
Really hard.
Yeah, it's not my thing.
It's not my fave. I do like it a little bit more than cardiac, but it's not my fave. This says, I love how the patient can receive phenomenal care, even life-saving care, but when one minor thing goes wrong, it becomes their sole focus. Not talking about most patients, by the way, just the entitled people who think that the world revolves around them. Like, I'm sorry your $20 shirt got lost, but hey, at least you're alive. At least you're alive to bitch about it, so be grateful. And this is coming from patients that come into the ER, let's say blood everywhere. We have to figure out where they're bleeding from, cut their shirt off. They complain about the shirt they lost. And while I understand that some patient populations are not well off financially, so maybe that's what they're thinking, fuck, I have to buy another fucking shirt. Are you kidding me? I don't even have money to buy food. If you don't know, most of your hospitals provide some type of clothing. So if you need clothing to leave in, tell your nurse and we can tell the social worker. Number two, people get caught up on weird shit like this. And I call it weird because at the end of the day, we're like, what the hell? We saved your life. Aren't you grateful? Yeah. But sometimes it's really hard for people to wrap their mind around something when they're like in shock. Yeah, we did just save their life. Maybe they haven't really fully grasped that yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times in those situations, the patient doesn't remember any of the
things that we were dealing with.
Life-saving care. They
them.
just woke up and feel terrible and their shirt is ripped.
And the shirt's gone.
Favorite shirt.
But it is one of those things like, are you really going to gripe about that?
Yeah.
However, I will say one of my little fears is that something happens to me, and this is going to be so like really, Lindsay, you stupid bitch. But one of my fears is something happening to me with my head, me waking up shaved, bald, because they had to like repair something,
Hmm.
and you just wake up like completely shaved head when like the incision was this big, and you're like, could you
Yeah.
have saved some hair? Because I've seen some patients where their whole head is fucking shaved for a small incision, and then I've seen patients like we have a family member that had a head trauma, and they saved a lot of her hair for her because we have to think that yes, we're saving this patient's life, but then they have to live a life after this. So let's make their depression, their PTSD, their anxiety less, as much like small
Yeah.
as much as possible. And this sounds so silly, but some women, I'm one of these women, I'm trying to learn not to be one of these women, but it's hard in the society I grew up in. Hair is my safety net.
Hmm.
So I wake up and my hair's gone. That's one of my things. I'm like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? My hair's gone. But it's easy to forget that this person just saved your life. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And I think we do a lot in the hospital in the name of infection prevention.
True.
And, maybe some of it's overstepping. Oh,
Sorry.
that's just great.
That's annoying. Keep going.
Uh, it's there's a lot of prevention measures, but I think a lot of times people don't realize exactly like they have a life to live whenever they leave the hospital, and like hair your length, that's what, years. I mean, that's
Years.
that's a long time to grow
It is.
your hair back out.
But my point is like I can understand where this person is upset about their $20 shirt because it's easy for me to focus on this.
Yeah.
This was mine, like as annoying as it is, even from a nurse's perspective, I'm like, I've had people gripe at me for X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, aren't you happy I saved your life?
Yeah, and it's
But
a lot of,
it makes sense at the end of the day. So
and there's protocols that we don't necessarily have a lot of say on. I mean,
yeah,
if a trauma comes in and there's even a chance at any type of cervical injury, you're cutting the shirt off because
yeah,
you're not going to roll them, you're not going to move them around, you're certainly not going to put their hands above their head and skin a rabbie
right.
right there on the
You
table.
can't most of the time, by the way, and it's very
Yeah.
dangerous. Like if you have a neck injury, a head injury, a spine injury, we're not going to maneuver you if we don't need to. We're going to cut that shit off, as I would want someone to do.
We cannot find any results for what you
Oh
said
my
while you were
God.
using
Guys,
the
I'm
app.
sorry. What?
I hate this TV.
Stop listening to us.
It was off.
It was. I'm telling you,
So
it's
it's
not
always
ever
listening.
off though. Something's up with these fucking these smart TVs. Y'all ever? What was that? What was that show? That movie on Disney, Smart House.
Smart house.
They're always listening, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, Brad.
Give me the next one.
All
Star
right,
review.
next one. Not long ago, by the way, quote. Not long ago, I was admitted to their ICU through emergency for breathing issues. The care I received was unmatched. They found a blood clot in my lung. My choice of clothing was just black joggers with a black shirt that said something about my Second Amendment right never expiring. It was a $20 shirt that was ordered online. This is another shirt one. This is kind of wild. As I got ready to leave 12 days later, not only was my shirt gone, so was my bra. What a lowdown, ghetto, in the hood kind of bullshit is that? I've called over and over again, but the case of the disappearing Second Amendment right shirt still gets nothing. Not even an I'm sorry. No offer of reimbursement. I hope that the ghetto security guard that has it knows that security does not license you to take away from others freely, and I really do hope that my bra fit you well. Very angry. Okay.
Well, she won. So she thought
First of all,
one of the employees was wearing her bra.
no one's wearing your fucking bra. No one's wearing your damn shirt. No one gives a fuck that it said my Second Amendment right. No one cares about your political views when you come into the hospital and have a dire need. You said up here that you came to the emergency room for breathing issues, admitted to the ICU, so you were critical, and you had a blood clot in your lung. Let me tell you why you can't find your clothes. Someone had to cut them off. Okay, bitch?
Yeah, and the
I don't understand this shit.
there is a problem, just working the whatever 6 years that we have in the hospital. The hospital does tend to lose things more often. I've had, I mean, over the years, probably 6 or 7 cell phones that were lost, and that's got to be frustrating. So
That's a cell phone, though. This is
they
a
do
shirt and a
get-
bra.
yeah, but I'm saying just belongings in general getting
For
misplaced.
sure.
And I can understand that. That's frustrating. Like there's no reason for it, but we're focused on other things, and the whole chain of command with patient belongings sometimes we're rushing you over because you need to go to the ICU, and your belongings are kind of an afterthought.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's just kind of how things go down.
It's because but at the end of the day, we're still caring about you first and foremost. That's why it is more frustrating when an electronic gets misplaced.
Yeah.
When it is because the way she wrote this makes me think that it's more so, she used the word ghetto multiple times. That's fucking rude. Why is your hospital ghetto? I would love to know.
Yeah.
You mentioned your Second Amendment right shirt specifically. This makes me think it's a little more political than saving your life. And this is where I would get annoyed. I don't care what your shirt said. I don't give a fuck who you vote for. I don't care. I literally don't. I'm here to save your life and help save your life.
Yeah.
So if your shirt went missing, I am sorry. Now, if your phone goes missing, it's a little bit more of a bitch. It's like, you know what? No, climb up the chain of command. I have helped a patient before. I said, go to the charge nurse, ask to speak to the house supervisor, ask to speak to the next person in charge till you get either reimbursed or your phone found. Yeah. Because let me tell you, these hospitals are billionaires and they can pay for you a new phone if you create enough chaos around it, I think. Now, are they going to offer it up front? No. You need to do that work, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But this is like silly. It's your shirt. And again, some people don't have clothing. And I understand that. If you are in dire need, you don't have the finances. Let your social worker know, because the hospital has clothing for you. It might not be a Second Amendment right t-shirt for you. It might not be a very good bra, but we have things for you. Yeah. Or they'll go buy things. I've literally seen a social worker leave to go buy their size of things from a Goodwill down the street. Mm-hmm. So there's things that we can do for you, but I just don't care for this type of like person is what it sounds like. Like making it a ghetto. What makes the hospital ghetto? I'm curious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're being hateful.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to the next one. 1-star review from my hospital. These doctors have years and years of training and get paid the good money. All these doctors know how to do is walk in, take vitals, throw pain meds at a patient. They do not help the patient at all. These doctors are creating drug addicts because they are too lazy to help and treat. So that was the quote. The person says, the person that found the review says,
Is this a comment?
It's a comment.
Okay, let me before you go to comments.
Okay.
Doctors don't take vitals.
No. First and foremost.
That's what popped out initially.
Or CNA.
They don't purposefully create drug addicts.
No.
Either. It's kind of the system has issues.
Yes,
for sure. But I have never met a doctor in the hundreds that I've met over the years that
wanted to create a drug addict.
Yeah, that seemed malicious in the slightest. You don't go to school for 14 years and you're in school until you're like in your 30s.
Yeah.
To specifically to hurt people. I mean, they do it because they love medicine.
Yes.
Or
they're trying to help at the end of the day. I actually have like such a beef with shitting on doctors in this. Like I see it on TikTok sometimes. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes we meet people who are fucking rude for no reason. And by people, sometimes I have interacted with doctors that I am like,
very poor bedside.
How dare you even talk to me that way? We should be a team. On the flip side, there are nurses that way. It would be silly of me to, I am a Libra through and through with balance, and I do not group people together. At least I try not to. No. Grouping all doctors as assholes or think they're better than me is silly. A lot of doctors work really great with team management. Like,
I mean, go into any work setting on earth. You're going to find the exact same dynamics.
Exactly.
You're going to have some people that are rude. You're going to have people that are cocky. You're going to have people that are not good with interpersonal skills.
Exactly.
It's a workplace. You're going to see that.
But it just drives me nuts that people, like they said, doctors are trying to throw pain meds at patients to create drug addicts. Let me tell you first and foremost, the hospital doesn't want more drug addicts. That's expensive. For the hospital. I'm talking about administration, by the way. When I say the hospital, I'm talking about the people that take care of what the hospital pays for. Believe me, they don't want more drug addicts because that is more money for the hospital in the long run.
Yeah.
Period. Now you could go into big pharma and all that and how that creates all that, but big pharma is not paying for the street drugs. Are they? So that's where I'm like, this is misguided anger.
yeah, and your average doctor, they it don't generally like to prescribe opiates.
Right.
You know, they're going to try
Actually.
everything else first. I mean, I know as nurses, whenever you have a patient that you really believe needs opiates, it
It's
takes
kind
some
of
pushing,
hard.
you know, yeah, because it takes a little bit to get that out of them, not because they're not responsive or they don't
Yes.
care, because
This.
there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that.
Absolutely. They have a lot of people down breathing down their necks just like we do. They can't just prescribe things just because you want it. That has to be reasonable. And again, in every single population in careers, in people, in nurses, teachers, I don't know, janitors, baristas, there's going to be a shit person.
Yeah.
But that doesn't group the whole, you don't group everyone because of the shitty person. That really gets on my nerves. One of the comments is, like what you said, there were many worse reviews, but I'm cackling at the thought of doctors taking vitals. Has this ever happened, like ever, in a hospital setting besides Grey's Anatomy?
I was gonna say, yeah, maybe a little too much Grey's Anatomy.
And then just chucking some pills at the patient before walking out. Exactly, because truthfully, most doctors don't take vitals. I've never seen it in my day.
Yeah.
It's nurses or it's some form of a nurse tech, CNA, patient care tech, medical assistant.
Yeah.
It's never the doctor.
Although I think in other countries doctors do a lot more.
Do they?
I'm not positive, but I think I'd heard of them like putting in IVs and doing
Well, this is the U.S.
yeah.
and that don't happen here.
No.
But if that does
no,
happen
not
and
here.
you're from another country, I would love to know.
Yeah.
I find
Yeah,
that interesting.
Interested to see what the
Sorry, no,
it'd be cool to have a nurse from another country on the
UK,
podcast. Yeah.
anywhere actually. Like literally, I would love to know how nursing is everywhere. I mean, and like healthcare workers in general.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting. So some of the comments were, I think I would die of shock if I ever saw an MD take vitals. Shows that
That's
they
what everybody's
thought
stuck
all
with.
the techs
Yeah.
and nurses were doctors too. Exactly. There's a doctor who takes the patient's temperature for me while I'm hooking up a patient to our monitors. Whew.
Yeah. I remember the first time that and I still remember his name, and I won't say it, but it was the very first time I was like getting a patient all ready, and we were about to put in a line in the ICU, and we needed to pull the patient up, and like I wasn't gonna ask the doctor because they never, you know, they
They
generally
usually
don't do that, and I started to walk out of the room to get. I said, you know, let me go grab somebody, we'll pull him up, and he was like, oh no, let's just pull him up. I was like,
You
what?
like you and
Like,
me?
you
Us?
you personally gonna pull him up? Okay, yeah,
No,
and
that's
it was cool, yeah.
and honestly, from a nurse's point of view, that's really awesome because we're swamped too. Everyone's swamped. I will never say I'm busier than so and so. Everyone has an agenda at work. We have task lists. Doctors have multiple patients. So do nurses. We all have our different tasks. So at the end of the day, we're all fucking busy.
Yeah.
I had a doctor. Actually, it was a resident. I won't say her name either because I remember her. She was so sweet. I came into the room because the call light was being pressed. And I was like, oh, you know, what can I help you with? And the patient was like, nothing. She's helping me. And it was the resident. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, what's going on? Do you need help? And she held up, I think I've told this before, but she held up the remote to the bed and said, how do you call dietary? I'm trying to help her order a lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the remote to the bed. And that's why the call light was going off because she kept hitting the red call light to call me instead of hang up the phone.
Yeah.
I was like, I died laughing in a kind way. I wasn't making fun of her. It was
yeah.
kind of like, girl, that's really cute, first of all.
Yeah.
And I pulled the phone and I was like, here's the phone. She was like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I was like, why are you embarrassed? You don't know. It kind of looks like a phone.
Well, people expect like just because they went to medical school, you know,
Yeah.
they have all this schooling and tons of knowledge. Most of them have never really you know, stepped foot in a hospital before. They might have done like some shadowing and some
Right.
some tech work and stuff like that, but they haven't been like in bedside healthcare
Right.
for the most part until they start their clinical rotations.
Exactly.
So you know, there's so many things that we got as working as techs, and you got to ask all the dumb, you know, quote unquote dumb questions.
Yeah.
Working as techs, so you go into it knowing a little bit, but a lot of these doctors who have to portray an air of professionalism.
Have to figure it out.
I think there's a lot of like, you don't want to ask questions because you need to show some professionalism, But there's a lot you just don't know that they don't teach. They don't teach in med school. They don't teach you in nursing school.
They don't teach you till
There's
you learn it.
tons of stuff that you just have to ask somebody. And if you ask the wrong person, they're going to be an asshole and like, you didn't learn this in med school,
Right,
You didn't learn this in
right. Just like
nursing
we
school?"
get it.
Yeah.
But like I would never shit on her for that. Like it was
No, that's hilarious.
it was cute in a way, like not demeaning. Like I was like, first of all, thank you for trying to help me, because that's what you're doing at the end of the day, is you're helping me. You're leaving a task off. You're taking a task off my list.
Yeah.
But number two is like, girl, I literally said, girl, that's a bed remote. That's the TV remote. It's connected to the bed. I was dying laughing. I was like, here's the phone. And she was like, oh my God. And then like every time I saw her, like we had like a little inside joke.
Yeah.
It was cute. I was like, thanks for trying to help in the first place.
And that's the crazy thing. Like, it does not take, if there's ever any doctors listening to this, it does not take much to get a nurse on your side for life.
It really doesn't.
Just like attempt to help or do little things that, and you guys are drowning in patience. I fully understand
Like,
that.
we
But just
get it.
the smallest little acts that make the nurse's day a little bit easier, you will have a fan for life.
Absolutely. I'll never forget her because of it. And like if I stayed at the hospital, she'd be one of my favorites. Same hospital, I had another, I don't think they were resident. What's someone right above resident? Attending. What's someone above that? Because there's like step ladders.
I think there's a fellow and then an
Fellow.
attending,
It was a
but
fellow.
not
That's what it
everybody
was.
a fellow.
It was a fellow. And he helped me sing happy birthday to a dying patient. Like, honestly, him doing that with me, I was like, you're fucking cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you care. So, I don't know. There's a lot that goes into this stuff, but sometimes I get DMs from like med students. They're like, how can I help my nurses? How can I get them on my side? Literally, just trying.
I actually, I wrote a blog post on things that nurses can do that stick out to. It was something to the effect of asking doctors, what is something a nurse has done that has made them stick out as more competent or more helpful, or something that you were like, wow, that was super helpful, and I'll always remember that nurse.
Yeah.
And I got a ton of good responses. I asked. There's something like 10,000 doctors,
Yeah.
and I got a bunch of responses from this, and so we'll have to do a episode on that, and
Vice
then
versa,
reverse
yeah.
it, and
What's something you can do to help, a doctor can do to help a nurse?
yes, yeah, because
Because we should be a team.
and all your smart doctors get on the good side of nurses,
Yep.
because life is so much easier whenever you're on the good side. And like if you've watched Scrubs or anything like that, like you see what happens whenever you get on the bad side of nurses, and it's there as comedy, but
But it's real.
it is real. Yeah.
It is real. I mean, because again, at the end of the day, sometimes we have people that are like literally just trying to get through their day, but they think that their tasks are all that matter.
Yeah.
We are all fucking busy, from EVS, is that what we say now? EVS, to the cafeteria, to nurses, to aides, to PT, OT, respiratory. We're all busy. So like, why are we being assholes to each other? I really don't know.
Yeah.
I hate that about healthcare, which is something I'm trying to help change. Like, you don't gotta be an asshole. You really don't.
Yeah, strangely enough, you can get just as much done and be kind to people.
It's crazy. How about you read the next few?
Okay,
Let's switch it up.
a very mixed experience for me with my firstborn. For the most part, has left me very angry because me and my wife, for more than 6 months, and even the day we came to have our baby, was assured that we would and could get a female doctor and not a male one.
Okay.
And then they used their understaffing as an excuse to give me the only female doctor. This is problematic. The only female doctor there to another patient, though we had been at the hospital for more than 12 hours, my wife having told the staff 7 times that she did not want a male doctor to check on her cervix.
It's fair.
And yet we were given a male doctor who did not respect our choice and kept pressuring my wife to get to check her cervix until she finally said yes, to my horror. As I see this as an act of cheating.
This is cultural. This is probably cultural.
Okay, let's
Keep going.
As I see this as an act of cheating and now do not wish to be with her. Oh. I am so angry at this doctor who clearly was also not Irish, but from a country where human rights is a lower priority, such as perhaps Pakistan.
So this is very
Okay.
problematic.
All right,
Keep going.
dickhead.
What is there a comment though under the quote that somebody found?
It goes on. The rest of the staff was friendly, professional, and competent. However, the lack of staffing made the waiting time countless of time and unbelievably long, which was especially painful because we felt we were treated as animals who had no choice but to follow their inflexible and illogical procedures. So, for that part, I would rate this hospital a 0 if I could. The only thing which would make me feel otherwise is that there was a lot of very good and caring, especially Irish He's really stuck on this Irish thing. Especially Irish doctors and midwives who did the very best they could, but at times seemed like chickens running around with their heads cut off because of their stress of having too much to do. So I would give this.
I have so much to say.
So I would give this 4 grades if I could. Sorry that the prompt was a little bit confusing. It looks like maybe English is a second language.
Yes.
But you get the point here. Oh, this goes on. Wow, he really got into it.
You can summarize if you want.
A 5-star for them giving us a ride home after in a car seat with a lot of help and instructions. A 4-star for general. How many
stars you gonna give?
I don't think this guy knows how a 5-star review works.
First of all,
So we're up to about 11 stars at this point. Let's keep going. A 4-star for general care, competence, cleanliness, and service by the staff. A 1 staff for understaffing, stress, rigid rules and restrictions, and lack of communications to let us know what was going on, what we could expect and when. A 0-star for the foreign male doctor for his total lack of respect and right to choose, lack of effort to accommodate my wife's desire for a female doctor, his rudeness, disrespect, and pressure put on my wife in pain as if he was a man bent on violating my wife's dignity and would not take no for an answer.
no, you lost me. Okay, here, couple things. This is like I said from the beginning, it could be cultural. And I'm gonna throw this out there. Just because it's cultural does not mean it's not toxic, but that's a whole nother story. This could be cultural, so we're gonna go with that. But he keeps saying Irish, so he's clearly Irish. I would think that Irish people don't, but I'm not Irish, so I don't know.
He was real stuck on wanting an Irish.
He wanted Irish, so I'm guessing he's Irish. This is not in the U.S., you could tell, but also let me start with the beginning. They use the excuse of short staffing. Hospitals globally are short staffed. I don't think the general public understands this. This is where a lot of my skits come from as well. We are crucially understaffed everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
No, we talked about this the other day. I don't think the general public
They don't understand that.
understands how redlined hospitals are.
Healthcare is.
We
Healthcare
are-
is on the tipping. We
Yeah.
are tipping as we speak. Y'all aren't ever going to know because that's scary. That's scary for the general public to know. The healthcare is at an all-time crisis. It's not an excuse. It's real. We are understaffed in every way. In EBS, in cafeteria, there's a lot of times where the cafeteria is shut down and we can't fucking eat because there's not enough people to serve us. Let me tell you, we are understaffed everywhere in the hospital. So let's go up to the doctors and the nurses. We're so understaffed. RTs, PT, OT, speech. Everyone is understaffed. That's not an excuse. It's reality. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand wanting a female doctor. Being a woman, I prefer a female looking at my genitals versus a male for many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I understand, however, that in an emergent case, I would say labor could be emergent depending on what stage you're at.
Yeah.
If you have to deliver and there's not a female doctor available, what do you want?
Yeah, we don't see the medical side of this.
No.
And I have no doubt it was urgent, and the doctor was pressuring because
it's urgent.
He was the only one capable of doing that, and it needed to be done. But I also, like you said, yeah, it's there. Being a male nurse, it comes up a lot that
Absolutely.
there's patients that just don't feel comfortable with a male doing some of the nursing care that's required. And that's no problem. I get a female nurse, we get it done.
When you can.
Yeah, but there's the benefit there is there's tons of female nurses.
Yes.
It's a female dominated field. With physicians, it can be more difficult because that's a specialty for one. And depending on the size of the facility and anything like that, there might not be that many physicians on staff there. So
Right.
that
And at
know
this
what
point,
they're doing.
it's it's been a male dominated field. It's changing. There's
Yeah.
plenty of women going into the medical field, specifically being a doctor. But like you said, this is a specialty. It's L&D. Not just anyone can come and deliver your baby. This kind of bothers me because it's like, then he said to me, that's my wife cheating on me. It wasn't her choice. So that, I don't know if that's cultural, and that's where I'm going to be like, I don't fucking know. But at the same time, sometimes if it is cultural, it doesn't mean it's not toxic. That doesn't vibe well with me. She doesn't have a choice in when her baby's going to be born. Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's not fair to blame that on your wife in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
That's weird.
This is an odd review, but you just can't get around this type of stuff. I mean, there's you, and we don't have kids, but I know birth plans are popular, but a lot of times it just can't go that way. I think one of my brothers or sisters, they had a birth plan in place, but doctors are humans just like anybody else. They go on vacation just like other humans do.
Right. As they should.
Yeah, and they go on vacations when they're able to, and that might land whenever you're having your baby.
Right.
And I know that's scary, but sometimes the day of, you have to switch to a new doctor.
Right.
And it sounds like that maybe was the case here, something like that.
Right. Or they're sick, or their kid is sick. I mean, they're a whole human. They're not a fucking robot. They're not going to be there 24/7.
Yeah.
So unfortunately,
They're people.
I kind of feel like if you have a birth plan, you should have a backup birth plan. So let's say worst case scenario, this all goes south. What's your next option?
Yeah.
Be open to and again, I'm not saying everyone's perfect. Some healthcare workers are embarrassing, but for the majority, we are there to help you. Let us help you.
Yeah.
This is silly. Why would you leave? This is silly.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
What's the next one?
Right.
Moving on, because it get me fired up.
That one goes on for a while after that. I stopped.
You can move it on. Unless there's some fun comments or something, because...
It looks like we're on the last one here. So this is from Reddit user Nursey McBitchface.
I felt like I'm going to love it.
She's saying, this is her quoting a review from her hospital where she works. There is a review of my hospital with a picture of a dead grandpa on the floor of his home, saying that we had sent him home too early. He was my patient. He had a knee replacement and was only admitted because the family wouldn't come pick him up post-op. It broke my heart. That's wild to put a picture on a Google review.
He was admitted because the family wouldn't come pick him up. That's not our fault.
Yeah, and had a knee replacement, was admitted because the family wouldn't come pick him up. Yeah, it's...
Awkward laughs. Because I'm uncomfortable. I'm really uncomfortable.
Yeah, to put a picture of that on there, that is wild.
Is that all it says?
That's it, yeah.
That's it? Is there any comments?
Yeah, there's comments. But no, only means girls become nurses to have power over the poor, defenseless patients. I'm so sorry you had to witness that and that it happened at all. People are terrible.
Huh?
I don't know what that
No. First of all, let's reel it in. Unfortunately, your papa died, and that is unfortunate. It's always unfortunate when your loved one dies after being admitted to the hospital and then released to normal care. Again, this brings me back to our healthcare crisis. Okay? We have the most stable patients are going to be released to go home because there is no room in the hospital. I'm not saying it's okay that your papa died. Absolutely not okay. But then again, it said he had to be admitted because no one could come pick him up.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want us to do with him?
Yeah.
If no one can come pick him up.
Yeah, and joint replacement surgeries have come a long ways. Like, even since I've been in healthcare, in total, maybe 8 years.
Yeah.
And since then, like, they're getting hips up and walking in the same day. They're getting knees up. Apparently, some places they're sending them home the same day. Like, it's come a long ways, and especially with medications and things like that. And there's always going to be complications. Freak accidents, PEs after surgery, things like that. And it's very unfortunate. Posting a picture of your deceased relative on a Google review is, that's...
Would they want that? First of all, like, please don't. I don't think anyone wants their dead body on there. That's kind of wild.
Yeah, that is wild.
I went and looked at, like, hospitals we worked at and tried to pull some reviews, and, like, most of them were pretty much the stuff we've already talked about. Like, I went in for a headache, I got Tylenol and sent home. Fuck this place. Like, That's pretty much what it was. If I would have saw a dead body,
Yeah.
that's
And we're
wild.
not, I mean, in all my time, we're not pressured in any way to discharge people before they're ready.
Right.
There's very specific criteria that they have to meet
Right.
medically from the doctor, and then usually your final say, the final thing before you go home is PTOT signs off on you to make sure that you're functional and you can do all your ADLs at home.
And if you can't, then they typically hire someone to go to your home.
Yeah, but I've never been in a situation where somebody was being pushed out whenever they're not ready. And I think your average nurse would push back against that because there's no benefit for us to, yes, I understand that the higher ups, corporate hospitals, there is a benefit to pushing patients out early, but we ultimately make the decision on that.
Right.
And, there's no benefit to doctors to doing that. There's no benefit to nurses. There's
No one's getting
benefit to
paid
therapy.
more.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts.
It's just not a thing. It's a good story, but in practice, it just doesn't really happen.
Right. Right. Okay, this is the last one, and then I'm going to hop over to something a little different. Here's one we got recently. Quote, parked car in front. I was immobilized, honking the horn with my face. Took over 20 minutes to get anyone's attention. But they drove themselves to the ER?
Yeah, how's that work?
So maybe, I don't know, and I don't mean to laugh, but it's just one of those things of, again, why do you, let's break this down. Why do you think it took 20 minutes for someone to notice?
Mm-hmm.
We are fucking busy.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be hateful. We are so busy. There's reasons that it takes 15 plus minutes to get to your call light. It's not for fun.
Yeah.
Nobody wants you to sit in your car for 20 minutes and honk the horn with your face. Who knows, stroke of some sort? I don't know. But these reviews are silly at the end of the day. These reviews could be used in a different manner. You could use this energy to vote, to want better healthcare, to educate yourself and then educate others around you. We have one of the worst healthcare systems in the world. So these reviews are comical sometimes because I'm like, are you doing anything beyond leaving this review that gets you nowhere?
Mm-hmm.
And some of these people might be. Maybe they are voting for better healthcare. But as years have gone on, we have seen people are not voting for better healthcare. They don't care because it comes down to their taxes and how much money they're taking home and how much money is going to go into this. But what about this little thing? Is my money going to go here? Well, I don't want it to go there. I want it to go here. Like, we don't have all the answers. But at the end of the day, these reviews are fucking stupid for the most part. I'm not saying that your pain is stupid or that the fact that you needed to go to the ER and you couldn't get out is stupid. It's you're directing your anger at the wrong people.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're trying to say is the most of these reviews, if you had to draw a common theme running through all of them, it's long waits.
Yes.
And long waits comes directly from staffing and logistical issues and just the size of the hospitals, how many beds they have, how many doctors we have, and things like that. And that does come down, the U.S. is one of the last holdouts for in developed nations for like universal health care or some sort of single payer system. And so there's it's a big, confusing, complex beast, and
It is.
we kind of do the best that we can in the hospitals, but we can't control staffing. We can control what we do. If you want change, that has to come from higher up.
It does. And it has to come from you too. It has to come from you voting for the right things and looking at things with an open mind. Mm-hmm. Just because you think one way doesn't mean that the opposite party, because of course in the US we have two-party system. That's fucking it. So if you think one way, but the other side thinks the other way on one little thing, a lot of people, at least from where I'm from, cut it out completely. And it's like, nah, I could never vote that way. But in reality, those are the people that are leaving these comments most of the time. And I know from firsthand experience, those are the people who are griping to me when I'm taking care of them. And I'm like, what are you doing outside of this, though? Yeah. Are we going to vote for better healthcare? Are we going to vote for universal? Is universal perfect? Absolutely not. But when we have a system like we do, what we have is not fucking working. Yeah. So why don't we change it up? How come we don't look at something different? I don't know. So I have this article pulled up. It says, how does the U.S. healthcare system compare to other countries? It's very enticing. U.S. per capita healthcare spending is over twice the average of other wealthy countries. We're up here. This was a 2022 study, I believe. 23, July 12th, 2023. So it's this year. The U.S. per capita healthcare spending is over twice the average of other wealthy countries. I'll link this as well in the description. The average is 6,400. We have 12,500. The next one is the United States spends more on administrative costs, but less on long-term healthcare than other wealthy countries. The United States, $925. This is administrative cost per capita, $925. Average, $200. Long-term care per capita, the U.S., $924. The average, $1,182. So we're not willing to spend that extra for the long term, right?
Yeah, it sounds like what you're getting at is that a lot more of the money in the U.S. is going to the C-suite.
To the CEOs.
Yeah.
That's why we have billionaire CEOs at these, what are they called? Non-profit hospitals. But the CEO's a billionaire?
Yeah.
Guys, that's a fucking tax term. That's all that is. It doesn't mean that your hospital's not making money because they are. I'm going to go through a few more of these. Although the U.S. spends more on healthcare than other developed countries, its health outcomes are generally not any better. It's not a shock to me because I work in it.
I think we're somewhere in the high teens or the low 20s as far as patient outcomes.
Yes.
As far as countries, we're a ways down.
It says, a healthcare system with high costs and poor outcomes undermines our economy and threatens our long-term fiscal and economic well-being. Fortunately, there are opportunities to transform our healthcare system into one that produces higher quality care at a lower cost. And like I said, I'm going to link this article and you guys can go see where you can go for, there's a solutions page. But I just found it interesting. I mean, again, we have these people leaving these reviews and are so angry, but are you doing anything with that? Are you voting? And don't get me wrong, I can put my little tin hat on and think about, does my vote matter? But at the end of the day, I have the option and the opportunity to vote.
Yeah.
Vote for these things that you're so fucking upset about.
Yeah, and
it's not your nurses, it's not your doctors. It's the CEOs making the decisions.
From what I understand, any type of universal healthcare comes with its own set of issues, but the set of issues is preferable to the set of issues we currently have in the U.S. And I've heard things like up in Canada about long wait times and things like that. I don't know if there's truth to that. I haven't really looked into it, but
well, we know people from Canada and they say it. I mean, I bet it's true.
But I mean, long wait times are one thing, but
for something minor,
having people and children that become critically ill unnecessarily because they're waiting for their insurance to, they're fighting with their insurance who doesn't want to pay for something. And the whole time is passing and they're getting sicker while they fight with insurance to get them to pay for anything. It just doesn't sound like a developed country to me.
No, it doesn't. We're very behind because the rich want to be richer, but they don't want to think about the middle class, the poor class. I mean, anyone beneath them, it feels like they don't care. I'm not saying they don't because I don't know what all they're doing, but it does feel like they don't care. And especially when I'm caring for people, I had a patient recently that is from another country and got hurt in our country, and his insurance from his country doesn't cover over here. He's gonna have to pay out of pocket. It's gonna be thousands of dollars for him. And he was telling me if it was in my country, it wouldn't be like this. I wouldn't owe shit. And I'm just like,
I think if that was me, I would go back to my country
and not come back
and just scratch the U.S. off the list of travel destinations forever.
I don't know. It just makes me think though. The more people I take care of, for one, it makes me realize how privileged I've been my whole life. I've always had health insurance. There was a time in my life where, if you guys don't know this about me, my dad had a motorcycle accident when I was in second grade. He had just moved jobs at the time. Our insurance was not there, literally wasn't there for like a month. And during that time, he had a motorcycle accident and we had to figure out what the fuck to do. And luckily things worked out in my family's favor. I don't really know how, except that I am privileged and I haven't had to worry about this. I mean, when I was in college, I went to urgent care, or no, I went to the hospital for a kidney stone. I literally thought something was being torn open inside me at the time, but it was just a kidney stone. But I left with a $900 bill for fucking Motrin that they gave me IV.
I had to help you pay that, right?
You helped me pay it. We were dating at the time, and I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
Like, you were so, like, you have to help me pay it, but you must have saw like a feature with me or something, because I don't know why you helped me pay it, but you did. It was almost a $900 bill for literally 2 hours. It's not like it's those nurses' fault or that doctor's fault. It's our healthcare system.
Yeah.
That's how broken it is.
Yeah, the prices are made up.
They are. They're fucking made up. The first time I realized things were made up, even after that, because I still didn't understand it, was when I was a nurse, a new grad, and I saw an itemized bill that my patient had requested. I happened to open the file on accident, and I saw Carmex at the top, $75, because we had to order them some chapstick from pharmacy.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing? That's stupid. It makes me so irate.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last thing. I just had to vent. That was the last thing.
And it's a great point. I mean, and it's such a huge, complex thing that it's so hard. It's one of those things that's I forget the quote. You have to plant seeds for trees in whose shade you'll never sit, or something like that. You know, any changes that we make are going to be,
they're for other people,
for our children, our children's children, you know, but it has to start somewhere.
It does have to start somewhere. And like, we don't even want children, and I want change. I don't want anyone to suffer through this stuff. I have such a heart for people in general. Don't get me wrong. Some people I'm like, I'm ready to fight out in the parking lot because you're being a freaking bitch. You're being rude for no reason. But people that literally have there's no reason they're sick, except they're just fucking sick. An accident happens. They have some disease they couldn't avoid, cancer. Why are we not like doing something about that? It really bothers me. After working in healthcare, I was so excited to become a nurse. I was so excited to help people. But then I realized how much of a business these hospitals have. They're never going to change unless we create change. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't know how you can be in healthcare and be okay with the current system, current iteration of our.
And most of us are not. Every person I talk to is like, well, something's got to give. But I think the general public has to know. They have to know what's going on, and I don't think they do.
And that's what I was talking about at the beginning of the episode with the siloing of information. The hospital's always been very good at that, and there's a reason. You know, there's no serious reason that every body part needs a separate name that's much more confusing. Yeah. It's, you know, the jargon is there for a reason, to separate medical staff from the general public, so that they can speak a language where there's not as much overlap, and you feel like you need this professional because they use these words you've never heard of before. Right. But it's, you know, and the hospital's bad about doing that, and this is just an extension of that type of system.
It is. Last little comment is I have an infographic I'll throw up on the YouTube if you guys are watching on there, but it says the U.S. healthcare ranks last among wealthy countries. A recent international study compared 11 nations on healthcare quality, access, efficiency, and equity, as well as indicators of healthy lives such as infant mortality. We are the last of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The top is UK. Go UK. Switzerland, Sweden, Australia, Germany, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, France, Canada, the US. So, I don't know. Hope you guys like this episode. Let me know.
Yeah. It was. We tried to be a little more targeted. We maybe meandered a little bit, but it's a bit more targeted.
Guys, I'm just gonna let you know, if you listen to my podcast, I am gonna meander just a little bit. That's just my personality. I'm very not an organized person. It's just
work ICU.
I work ICU. I'm organized in the ICU, but outside of that, squirrel, ADHD runs my life. But I hope this helped. I don't know. Let us know your feedback. I would love to know. DM me, send me an email, whatever it is. But let me know what else you guys want to hear, because we're all ears. We definitely have some more new grad stories. I know you guys wanted to hear those. If you're not already following us on Patreon, You should, because we have a lot of juicy bits from last season that we're just now rolling out. We are trying to get feelers out there to see if you guys wanted a Patreon. You do. You want more things. Go over to the Patreon. Not everything is, you don't have to pay for a lot of it. A lot of it's still free, but go subscribe on my Patreon. Please be following me on all socials, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, if you're still on there, YouTube. And we will be dropping this episode very soon. This is the first episode of season 2.
Yeah, season 2 kicking it off. And season 1 was great. Congratulations.
Thanks. Thank you. But that's all for now. Until next time.
Peace out.
Bye.